So many of you may be wondering, if you are an overpronator, what can you do as far as exercises to help that overpronation and to prevent some symptoms like shin splints, plantar fasciitis, maybe some generalized heel pain or knee pain from setting in while running? Hey everyone, it's Dr. Heather here, and last time I spoke about the difference between pronation and supination and taking a look at our biomechanics, really understanding what happens when those two occur, kind of having a better understanding of that foot-ankle relationship, and then also to, kind of giving you guys some more information about taking my wet foot test to see if you have flat feet, a high arch, if you do supinate, if you do pronate, and what does that mean and how it affects your running. But the one thing I didn't answer was, are there exercises that you could do to kind of help correct or kind of minimize that amount of pronation that you may be doing? Because a lot of times we do want some pronation while running, but we don't want an excessive amount because it can lead to other conditions, which is something I started to address when looking at various things like shin splints, like plantar fasciitis, and also to runner's knee or even an ITB syndrome, as well. So what I want to go over with you guys today is specifically looking at the foot and ankle and the things that we can do to kind of exercise those muscles. And as you know, I'm actually very big on education, which is why I always bring my friend Mr. Super Skeleton into the videos. So today, what we're going to actually look at is the actual foot and ankle area. So as you can see here, we've gone ahead and we're starting to address kind of more of the arch area in here. So we're looking at all the intrinsic muscles that really make up the foot, the arch of the foot and ankle itself. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be addressing kind of some different exercises that you can do that are very specific to trying to help with, like I said, pronation, which means that you are going ahead and you're bringing that foot in a lot more, which means you're hitting the ground on the heel, rolling to the outside, then coming in far in on the inside of the foot. So we're looking at that pronation here. So what we're going to address today is really looking at these intrinsic muscles in the inside of the foot, going through various exercises that are going to attack the foot and the ankle. So now we're going to go over to the exercises. So now before we get into the exercises for overpronation, let's go over the basic movements of the foot and ankle. So as we have our patient here, as she sits, dorsiflexion is bringing the toes towards the head. Then inversion is bringing the foot in. Eversion is bringing the foot out. And plantar flexion is bringing the toes towards the ground. When looking at the muscles of the foot and ankle, we're primarily looking at the anterior tibialis, which sits off the top part of the shin, the peroneals, which sit off to the side. Then we're looking also too behind the shin bone when we're looking at the posterior tibialis muscle. The gastroc and the soleus do play a role in here, along with the plantar fascia as well, which sits on the bottom of the foot. Now, when talking about overpronation, a lot of times people, when they have overpronation, have a flat arch. As you can see here, this patient has a nice high arch, but uniquely also overpronates her foot. So when the patient stands, you're going to notice that as they stand up, you can see and tell if the arch is high or if the foot itself rolls in and the arch becomes flattened. When that happens, that's the indication of overpronation. Another way is to look at a gait analysis while running on a treadmill, or taking the wet foot test, which I mentioned in the pronation supination video. Now, from here, we're going to go over some simple exercises you can do at home to kind of help correct overpronation. Now remember, you do want some pronation when running because that is natural for the foot to roll inward when you're striking the ground. Now I'm going to have my patient sit back down on the ground, and we're going to start with a simple exercise which involves a towel. So she's going to go ahead and place the feet actually at the end of the towel. What she's going to do is she's going to grab the towel with her toes and she's going to start bringing the towel towards her by simply starting to work all of the hallucis muscles along the foot. These are the muscles that kind of rest, and as you can see in the patient here, they're starting to engage as she curls the toes towards her. So let's show that one more time. Go ahead and simply curl the toes towards you, dragging the towel in. You could also separate this one out by doing 1 foot at a time. That would be perfectly fine. Now let's get to the next exercise. Another one you could do is actually great for ankle strengthening. This is very similar if you don't have any bands at home, because you can also work inversion of the foot. What she's going to do is she's going to simply evert the foot, and then she's going to pull towards her. So what she's going to do is she's going to grab the towel, and walk the towel in, just like so. And then you can do the same, and you can bring it back out. So if you didn't have a band, you could do something as simple as this. Now the next exercise we're going to get to is what's known as toe yoga. So what she's going to do here, she's going to try to just lift her big toe up while leaving the other toes down on the ground. There you go. And now come back down. Again, lifting just the big toe up, good, and bringing the toe down. Now keeping the big toe down, try to lift the other toes up and repeat. Let's try that again. So go ahead, lift the toes, and now just lift the big toe. There we go. Nicely done. Let's try again. Lift the toes, and now lift the big toe. This one's a really tricky one because not everybody can isolate these muscles, but it's important to try. Now, another exercise that can be done is where she's going to take, when we'll show this one with the left leg, she's going to cross the left leg over the right, just like so. She's now going to take her band and she's going to place it around her foot like this. She's going to take her left hand and she's going to grab the band here where my thumb is. Now, applying some tension, she's going to invert the foot towards her and back. Invert and back, holding a good, decent amount of pressure on the band as she does so. And you could do this one about 10 times. And you would want to make sure that you do both feet as well, even if one foot tends to overpronate versus the other. Now the last exercise we're going to try is actually a balance exercise. For more exercises regarding balance, check out the proprioception versus balance video that I've done that really starts looking at different ways we can incorporate balance into our training programs. I'm going to have my patient simply stand up, and now all she's going to do is she's going to lift her left leg up towards her chest, and she's just simply going to stand here. Notice what happens at the foot and ankle. So she's really struggling to go ahead and maintain balance here, and this is something that we want to really practice because it allows for the foot itself not to roll completely in, and it's allowing for the peroneals, the gastroc, the soleus, the tibialis anterior, and the posterior muscle all engage while trying to stand on one leg. And go ahead and relax. Now don't forget to do the other side, but for our purposes of this video, we'll stick to the one side today. So those are some really simple exercises that you can do to help correct overpronation. Now just remember, you do want some pronation when you're running. It is natural. It is something that you do want to have during that run cycle, and it's part of the way the foot needs to hit the ground in order for you to push off the ground as you're continuing to do more training. All right, so if you have more questions on overpronation or other exercises that you would like to have in your tool bag to really enhance, maybe it's some more balance work to head off some of those conditions that we talked about early on in terms of shin splints, plantar fasciitis, maybe some knee pain or hip discomfort, all things that can stem from overpronation, drop some comments down below. Let me know what are some of your issues, and let's go ahead and try to resolve those problems today so you can continue to do what you love most, which is going out for that run. Okay, everyone, so this is Dr. Heather. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. There's a lot of great content on here that's all designed around you. So go ahead, subscribe today, and if you got some value out of this video on overpronation, give it a thumbs up. Hit that like button for me. All right, everyone, I'll see you in the next video.